Hi. In the next few videos, we're going to look at the numeric types in Python. So basically how we can represent numbers in Python. So very quickly, we have four main types of numbers. We have the integers, which are basically 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, etc. So basically all the integral numbers from minus infinity to plus infinity, although obviously we can't go to infinity in a computer, there has to be a finite limit. And that's represented by the Python type int. Then we have rational numbers, which is represented in mathematical terms by this fancy little q. And that is basically fractions of the form p over q, where p and q are integer numbers and q is not equal to 0. So I want to make sure that you understand that these are fractions, but fractions of integers, not fractions of, let's say, pi over 3. That is not a rational number. Okay, that's not a regular fraction because pi is not an integer. And that's represented by the fraction object that's in the fractions module. Then we have real numbers. Real numbers are the numbers that we're used to working with every day. You know, 0 is a real number, minus 1 is a real number, 0.125, 1/3, pi, e, all those are regular real numbers represented by this symbol r. And those can be represented in two different ways in Python. Usually the most common one is to use a float. That's kind of the default that we have in Python. But we can also use the decimal class in the decimal module when we want to have more control over the precision of those numbers. And we'll look at that in detail as well. Lastly, we have complex numbers, which are of the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. They're basically numbers that have a real part and an imaginary part. And in Python, we can use the complex data type. And we would write it as, let's say, 3 plus 4j. So we'll get to that as well in an upcoming video. So you'll notice that the integers are a subset of the rationals are a subset of the reals, and the reals are a subset of the complex numbers. So it goes from the smallest set to the biggest set. Now, the one thing that's different about Python is that it introduces actually a fifth data type that is also considered a numeric type, and those are the Boolean truth values. And it does that basically by saying that 0 is considered false and 1 is considered true. So the Boolean data type exists, and we can use these names, true and false, but in fact behind the scenes they're just two numbers, 0 and 1. So really in Python we have 5 main types of numbers. And we will look at each one of those in some detail in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.